You're watching the Wellness Hour, news that makes you healthier. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic is how to overcome anxiety, depression, how to even wean off medications. My first guest was on 14 prescription medications. She turned it all around. She's best-selling author of Cured by Nature, Tara Mackey. Tara, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you're a local right here in
Yep.
Encinitas.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you. And you have quite a story.
Yeah.
In your book. For people that don't know your book, what's it about and who should read it?
Anyone who's on medication, anybody who's been diagnosed with a chronic illness, anybody who wants to start natural alternatives rather than the medications that they're on, anyone who wants to wean off, who feels stuck, who feels depressed, who feels anxious, who feels like life's just a little bit too much for them, could definitely benefit from reading this book.
And you have a lot of people that, I said, have people, because you put Cured by Nature. Do you have people that this book has helped them get off medications, or was the inspiration?
We've had hundreds of testimonials, yes, from people. The book came out a little over a year ago, and in the last 12 months, we've had dozens and dozens and dozens of people tell us that not only has the book helped them, but it's saved their life, it's changed their life, it's propelled them in a completely positive, new, upward direction that they did not know was possible. So not only did it help me and my stories in there, but what I share in the book has helped so many other people. And so that's why I'm extra passionate about getting the word out there.
Okay, good. Now, let's start with your story. Early on, your parents, they were
drug addicts, alcoholics. They didn't even marry each other. My dad was my mom's drug dealer. By the time I was 5, my mother was addicted to heroin, and I had seen her overdose countless times.
So you knew she was on drugs?
I knew she was on drugs, yeah.
Wow.
And I knew she was drinking alcohol, and I knew it wasn't normal. I think children of alcoholics, we kind of know, but it's not until, the more you grow up, the more you realize other people's parents don't do this. This isn't normal. And so when I was 6, she overdosed in front of me and I couldn't wake her up. So I called my grandparents. They came and rescued me. And
how old were you?
I was 6.
6 years old, okay.
Yeah. She actually ended up dying for 2 minutes that time. But the ambulance actually came just in time to save her life. And my grandparents ended up getting custody of me within that year. So they applied for custody, went to court, fought, and then they raised me. So by the time I was 12, my grandparents, wanted me to have a relationship with my mother, but she was kind of still pulling drug-induced stunts and was in and out of rehab. And I watched her actually relapse again when I was 13. And a few months later, I was put on my first medication, a heavy-duty mood stabilizer called lithium.
Okay. You were on lithium at 13.
I was on lithium at 13, an adult dosage of lithium at 13, yeah. Let me tell you what it means to be on lithium at 13. You're in high school. I wasn't even in high school yet. It was the month before I started, month before I started high school. So in the summer, and I was numb. I was a zombie. It really turns your brain off. It's meant to turn your brain off, right? It's designed that way to interrupt your neurons to change your brain chemistry. And sometimes if you don't need the drugs, it can do that in a way that really negatively impacts your life like it did with mine. It wasn't, I had been to talk therapy since I was a kid, and that had actually really helped me. I think therapy is really, really important, and everybody should go, especially if you're having a hard time. But as far as being put on drugs and then not going to talk therapy, which was kind of the new regimen that I was on, that just ended up making the problem a lot worse.
So you're on lithium at 13, then you continue to move on to other medications to help stabilize your mood?
So lithium at 13, then at 15, I was diagnosed with ADD because I got 1 C+ on one test. I was a straight A student up until then, so they felt that was enough reasoning, I guess. And the second I got put on an ADD medication called methadate, which they now prescribe for children as young as 5, by the way. I mean, I thought I was young when I was on it. It really ruined my life. So I was a singer, and I was constantly auditioning and going and doing plays and competitions, and any time that I had to do anything important, I would start shaking. I had crazy anxiety. I couldn't finish rehearsing. I couldn't finish auditioning. It was literally ruining my life. Like the one thing that I loved to do, I couldn't do anymore. And my grades started rapidly declining. So not only did the drug not address the problem, but it actually made the problem worse and gave me brand new problems that I never had before. So when I asked to come off that drug, they switched me from lithium to another mood stabilizer called Lamictal, which I was then on for 8.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just the snowball happens.
Just the snowball
So
happens.
at what point were you at 14 medications?
So 14 medications was at 24 years old. It went from, 2 at 16 to, 4 at 20, 8 at 23. And then my best friend actually committed suicide January of 2011, right after I turned 24. And I went on Valium and Xanax on top of the 12 medications I was already on for pain, birth control, anxiety, arthritis, you name it. I was taking it, fibromyalgia. I mean, like everything that they could diagnose you with in your 20s.
Cold turkey got off these things?
Cold turkey. Just decided I was going to stop taking them, which was not a good idea.
You must have been miserable.
I was miserable.
Getting off these drugs must be tough.
Oh my God, it was really tough. So I had seen my mom actually.
So this, by the way, sorry to interrupt, but
That's okay.
This strategy that you're sharing is in your book.
It's in my book.
To get
yes,
off. Okay.
Yes, and I don't recommend it. This one. I mean, because I tried to see doctors. What I had been diagnosed with, though, if you see a doctor for it, basically the doctor will say, you wanting to come off your drugs is a symptom of your illness. Here's different or more drugs, which is all I got when I went to go see a doctor was, I don't want to be on this. Well, that's a symptom of your illness. You should be going on actually more drugs, heavier drugs. Clearly you're having a mental breakdown. I wasn't having a mental breakdown. I mean, I kind of was because I was on 14 different medications, but I wasn't having, I was having what I believed to be really a revelation. Okay. It was the first time I saw the rest of my life without there being chronic illness or death. Like when I really pictured the rest of my life, if I stayed on all these drugs, I was dead. I mean, there was no way. I was already in the hospital every 3 months from like chronic kidney infections, my organs shutting down, my brain didn't work. I had no future. I couldn't concentrate. I was in abusive relationships. Like, it was over for me if I didn't do something completely drastic. So coming off my medications was what I decided to do. I had seen my mother come off heroin at home. She actually kicked it at home eventually.
Nice.
Yeah, really good for her. She's actually been off for a really long time. But what I went through coming off of these drugs for 2 years, and my mother herself will tell you, was more difficult than what she went through coming off of heroin. And I don't mean to toot my own horn saying that. That's not really a badge of honor that I wear. It's just the truth. Did
you have to bottom out to do this?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Do you think everybody has to bottom out to do this?
Yes. Yeah, I tried to take my own life before I decided to come off the 14 pharmaceuticals. I still have the scars to show for it, but luckily that's all I have. I realized at that point that wasn't going to solve my problems, right? I just been to my best friend's funeral and her death didn't solve anything for anybody. So why was my death going to solve anything for anybody? So it was like that week that I decided to just, hey.
So the book is strategies and inspiration for people that are either close to that bottomed out and how to turn around. Now you give like herbal remedies, what to eat. I mean, it's also like a nutrition book.
It's like a nutrition book. I mean, that's why I say it is kind of a book for everybody, but it's definitely for people who are having a difficult time. I mean, that's who it'll resonate with the most. People who had a difficult upbringing, because when you come from in some kind of environment when you're younger that's not the norm. People assume certain things about you, right? And these create these limiting beliefs that we then kind of start to live by. Like when I was diagnosed with a mental illness at 13 years old, I carried that into everything I did.
So your belief about yourself was, I'm this way.
Right, and I need medication forever, and I won't be able to live without it. And that's, the number one treatment in the Western world today. So every time we're diagnosing somebody with something, we're teaching them two things. One, you're broken, and two, you need to take pills because you're broken. And pills are there to solve your problems, and they're not. There's so many other ways.
So through nutrition, would you give nutrition the...
Nutrition's up there. Okay. Oh yes, yeah. That was one of the first things I did was really change what I was eating. Well, I couldn't eat anymore, right? So I went through really horrible withdrawal symptoms. I mean, like nausea, dizziness, excruciating pain, brain zaps, brain fog, like everything you can name. But the nausea was actually the worst. I was throwing up every 15 minutes. I couldn't eat anything. So I literally had to start from the beginning. Like I could only eat smoothies and stuff that I mashed up like a baby, you know what I mean? And in a weird symbolic way, it was kind of like raising myself all over again, you know, because I kind of raised myself when I was little anyway. So it felt like kind of getting a second chance, you know, of like,
nice.
Okay, you got to start from the beginning, and maybe you don't know exactly what's going to work. Like when I came off all my drugs, Randy, I was not trying to quit all my drugs forever. I wanted to know what I needed and what I didn't need. And it was only through food and through supplements and through researching herbal remedies that I found that there were things out there that worked so much better than any pill I had ever taken.
To raise your serotonin.
To raise your serotonin, yeah, to raise your dopamine, to cure pain, to help your inflammation, to help with fertility issues.
So your anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, all gone now.
All gone. And not just me. I mean, so many people who've read this book and who've reached out to me and let me know how what's in the book has helped them and helped them make a positive change in their life. I mean, it's not just me. What I went through was extreme because I was on 14 different drugs and I was on them for 11 years. But you don't have to do that. I mean, people don't have to do what I did, not only being on drugs for such a long period of time, but detoxing in such an extreme way. And so I feel like that's why what's in there is so important, because it can really, really, really help you to start small. I mean, like that's actually my number one advice, is to start small. Like I had to start small. I was forced, but there's so many other people. I have somebody who reached out to me the other day. She said when she read the book, she was 12 hours away from killing herself.
Wow.
She had already decided in the morning she was going to do it. She'd bought my book and I think one other book, and she finally opened it and decided to read it. And she sent me a message the next morning saying, I was going to kill myself today. And I've decided after reading your book that I'm going to sign up for the 5K in 9 months. And I'm going to just try to do it. She'd been addicted to pain medication for the last 5 years and was overweight and just ran her first 5K.
So follow the steps in the book.
Followed the steps in the book. She lost 50 pounds and she just ran her first 5K. She actually sent me a message yesterday thanking me, and she's rereading the book again. I have a mother who had her son on ADD medication. He's 5 years old. Came to one of my book signings, was crying after I did my little speech, and was signing books, came up to my booth and was crying and said, you know, my husband put our kid on medication. I didn't want to do it. He's 5 years old, but he has ADD and he wasn't going to graduate from kindergarten. But he has all these twitches and all these side effects and I don't know what to do. And I said to her, listen, what are you worried about? And she said, we're worried that he's not going to graduate from kindergarten. Like, what if he doesn't graduate? And I said, well, what if he has twitches for the rest of his life? You know, who is he going to blame then, really? Okay. You know, like if he graduates from kindergarten or doesn't, he kind of has to blame himself and learn through it and figure it out. And I gave her some herbs, and I gave, you know, she had bought the book, and she emailed me 9 months later and said he's off his drugs and he graduated from kindergarten.
All right.
And she made her husband promise that they would never put any of their other kids on drugs ever again, and they're always going to figure it out the natural way before they do it. I had another girl who was extremely anxious, extremely depressed, had just come out of a psych ward, met with me for lunch the other day, said that she had read my book, one of Tony Robbins' books, actually. I talk about him in my book, and that that she'd found through reading my book, and that together she's working with herself and her parents not only to address her anxiety and depression naturally, but that she feels the best that she's ever felt before, that she would never ever need to go in the hospital again. So I just feel like even these small wins for people, even just waking up in the morning and feeling better than you felt the day before, you know, it doesn't have to be a 360-degree change.
So we're short on time. And by the way, the website, if they go to the website, this info is on the website as well?
Yes, yeah. We blog at least once a week about the same kind of information that's in the book, and there's so many resources on there for so many different kinds of health ailments and beauty and everything. There's
so it's health, skin, beauty. Your skin is nice.
Thank you.
You said you used to have a lot of acne.
Yes, I had a lot of acne. I cured my cystic acne, a lot of feminine problems, addressing things like PCOS and things that women deal with every day that they don't really get natural cures for from their doctors when they go. So there's all different kinds of stuff on there.
So talking to parents, because this could be, you could be 40, 50, 60.
Right.
A lot of women are taking, 40 plus, taking medications. A lot of men are taking medications. I'm guessing more women are going to be drawn to a book like this?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes, but I would say it's actually 50-50. Like, so many men have read this book and have really resonated with it and changed their lives because of it, and that makes me really happy.
So parents that are watching this and they have a 13-year-old, 15-year-old, 18-year-old on medications, And I know you believe in working with medical doctors.
Yes.
But what do you tell them?
I tell
Is this
them,
something a 13-year-old can read?
Yes, yeah. I tell them to give that book to their
Really?
kids. Oh, yes,
Good.
yeah. And I have moms who have and who have said that it's changed their lives and it's changed their children's lives. Because when we're in that stage, like when I got put on medication at 13, I thought I was broken, and kids were getting put on medication earlier and earlier and earlier. I talk to parents every day who's at least one of their kids is on something and they're not in high school yet, you know? So it's definitely getting more prevalent, and we definitely need to, you know, the book has herbs that heal. It has herbs that can help you with anxiety, with depression. It helps you sleep. It helps with your skin. I have an herb in there that literally cured my acne. So if you're interested in that, definitely take a peek.
Is that right? So you got a lot of secret sauce in there.
Yeah, a lot of secret sauce.
And well, good for you. You know, I've had a lot of medical doctors, alternative functional medicine doctors on the show telling me stories like this. So you're the first one. You know, that's why I wanted you on the show. You know, got off 14 medications. You did it naturally with meditation. You know, I mean, there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
You know, stress reduction techniques, herbal remedies, nutrition, things like that, anti-inflammatory diet. And they could get the book online, Amazon, your website.
Yep, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, website, Target, Walmart.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And so do you lecture on this topic as well?
I do, yeah. I'm speaking a lot this year. If they go to theorganiclifeblog.com, there's a tab for speaking. So if they want to come see me, check out a book, come say hi, get their book signed, they can come see me.
Well, good. Tara, well, thank you for coming on the show. Great
Thank you
stuff.
so much for having
Great
me, Randy.
information.
Yeah.
You've been watching The Wellness Hour. I'm Randy Alvarez. For now, I wish you good health.